For your beautiful singing and worship. You are a fellowshipping church. I always love the way that you greet each other and the way that you show your warmth and your friendship to each other. Folks you've known for a long, long time. Folks you have known for a short time. You're no respecter of persons. And you extend your hospitality and your acceptance to each other. I love it when Greg has us get up from where we're seated and move around the sanctuary and extend the hand of fellowship one to another. You are a singing church, and you sing these hymns with gusto and vitality and enthusiasm, and they can be old hymns and you sing them like you mean them. They can be new songs to the Lord and you sing them. I can feel you trying to sing them. God is blessed by that. And you're an eating church. And once again, we're going to eat. And I hope all of you will stay for the meal. Whether or not you are a regular attender or a member here, we're going to have a meal after church over in the activity center across the street. And we need all of you to stay and complete the worship of the Lord this morning. Unless you're otherwise committed, you stay. Now, don't go to... This is not the Sunday to go to Underwood's. Can I say that, Leonard? Let's go to the activity center and have a good meal together. This is an eating church. And if you've ever been down this hallway to the north, right behind us, the first thing you see when you walk in the door is a pair of scales. Because they want you to weigh in when you come through the door to make sure that number is higher when you leave. So delighted for this fellowship. Just makes my heart feel good. The Lord's going to minister His Word to us this morning, a very familiar passage of Scripture from the 15th chapter of the Gospel of St. Luke. The Scripture was read a moment ago by Candace. You hardly need the Bible open on your lap to know this narrative. It is hidden in your heart. This is a story that has shaped you ever since you were a little girl or a little boy. It is what we commonly know as the parable of the prodigal son, but many Bible teachers and pastors and theologians like to refer to this story as the parable of the loving father. I do too, because it says much more about the love of a father than it does about the rebellion or the prodigality of a child. Jesus tells 3 parables in the 15th chapter of the Gospel of Luke. We have to understand who His audience is in order to get the full import and meaning of these parables. In verse 1, the Scripture says, Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to Jesus, and the Pharisees and scribes were there too. Now, it's a mixed congregation that day, just like it's a mixed congregation this day. There are some Pharisees here this day. We don't want to admit it, but there are. Not many, but there are 1 or 2 or 3 of us in a sanctuary, a congregation this size, who really are trying to lord over everyone else. That's always the case in any body of Christ. It's just human. And let's call it like it is. There are seasons in my own life, there have been, when I have been haughty, know-it-all, top of the mountain. You just give me a little time and I'll straighten you out. A Pharisee. There's scribes in this congregation this morning, those of you who really are trying to walk a chalk line, to dot every I, to cross every T, to say every nuance, jot, and tittle of the law just like it is. You think that it's something that you can do, it's something you can accomplish. If you can just be faithful enough, if you can just show a little bit more tenacity, then you can be in right relationship with God. The tax collectors in this congregation today. You've sold your identity. You've betrayed your true calling. There's sinners in this congregation today, and that's all of us. Every single one of us in this room have missed the mark. we're like that archer trying desperately to hit the bullseye. And we shoot, and we shoot, and we shoot, and we shoot, and arrow after arrow after arrow misses. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. There are none righteous, no, not one. It's a mixed congregation that Jesus has on that day so long ago. It's a mixed congregation today, and therefore Jesus tells us that we are lost. All of us are lost. But we have a marvelous God who knows how to find us. What's that God like? That God's like a woman. And she's got 10 silver coins, but she loses one of them. No big deal, she might say. I've got 9 left. What great good fortune do I have? I'm not going to sweat it. I'm not going to make a huge thing out of it. No. The woman searches her whole house. She sweeps every single corner of that house. She pulls back the rug. She moves the furniture. She turns it upside down till she finds that one lost coin. And then she throws a party. She invites all of her neighbors. And she says, this one was lost but now is found. Let's have a celebration. What's that God like? That God's like a shepherd. And those of you cattlemen in this congregation know exactly what Jesus is talking about here. Leaves the 99 sheep and goes after the one lone sheep that is strayed from the herd, that one animal that needs his special attention. And when he finds it, he lays it on his shoulders, he rejoices. He comes back home, he throws a party, he sends out invitations. Note that that is a feature to all 3 of these stories, the whole matter of sending out an invitation. And there's nothing more important to the imagination and of faith than to issue an invitation. And as we've said before, what do you do when you get an invitation in the mail? I mean, you hold it in your hand and you look at it and somebody has opened up their heart and their home to you, and it makes you feel blessed and it makes you feel affirmed. You are included. You're no longer left out. You're no longer outside. You're not on the periphery. Now you are invited in. You are part of the in crowd. And what Jesus is trying to say is that everybody is part of God's in crowd. There's no such thing as us and them. There's no such thing any longer as those on the outside and those on the inside. And my sisters and brothers, if American Christianity could just understand that, then there'd be more than 18% of the American people in church on any given Sunday. But we hadn't quite gotten that yet. And we pose barriers and obstacles and obstructions, and we make people say the password and recite the catechism and the creed. We would never dare call it that, but that's what they feel on the outside. They feel lost, but they feel like there's nobody on the inside that knows how to find them. And then Jesus told another parable, another story about a man who had 2 sons. They were very different sons in a way, but they were very alike in another way. And one of the sons, in fact, the younger one, came to his father one day and said, "Divide the portion of the inheritance that belongs to me." Dullsville here. I'm tired of this scene, and I'm getting out of Dodge. Give me the portion of the inheritance that belongs to me. And anybody who knows anything about ancient Jewish anthropology and culture and economics knows that the inheritance didn't belong to the younger son at all. The law held that it would go to the older son, the older brother. But the father does not issue one single argument.